Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and it is always a good day when we have our friends in from these great theater companies throughout the county. Today is no different. We got Susan Clausen. She has been doing magnificent promotion and marketing of these great companies, and today we're going to shine a light on the Oceanside Theater Company. Susan's going to be on the show with us, and Ted Leib. He's an actor in this play. We'll talk about good people, and the artistic director of Oceanside Theater Company. How you doing there, Ted?
Very good. Thanks for having us.
Oh, kidding me. It's an honor. And Sandy Campbell is the director of Good People. First foray into directing, is that correct?
That is correct.
After zillions of performances on stage as an actress, now, why did you want to dip your toe into this?
Well, to tell you the truth, as we get a little older, there are become less and less roles out there, and I was thinking, how am I going to keep my creative juices flowing? Maybe I'll start looking into directing. I've been around for a long time and had the pleasure of working with many different directors here in town, and I thought, well, maybe this is something to try to do. So I talked to a lot of director friends. I did some assistant directing, and I just kind of put things out in the universe. And the universe answered with an email from Ted a few months later saying that he's an old friend of mine, and he said that they were going to do this show, Good People, at Oceanside Theater Company, and would I be interested in directing? It seemed like a sign. We had a few meetings, and here we are.
No, that's terrific. And now, Susan, have you directed?
I have not. No, I mean, a long time ago in college, et cetera. But
that counts.
Does that count?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely that counts. Is that going to be one of your next steps?
You know, I would never say never. I mean, I am interested in it right now when I do have time for an artistic, a chunk of time dedicated to doing something artistic. I like to perform.
Yeah, right now I know you're doing that, and we'll talk a little bit of Sandy later on the show about, the difference in the pivot from, acting to directing and so forth. And, Ted, you guys always have some unbelievable performances at the theater company up in Oceanside. What made you choose Good People?
Well, actually, we had chosen this for the 2020 season. It was supposed to go up in May of 2020. And Susan and I were going to be in that one as well. And obviously, that didn't happen because of the pandemic. And when it came time, as we were getting out of the pandemic to set our season, we were looking at several different projects. And we decided that we thought this was maybe even more relevant today than it was then, or certainly just as powerful, because there's been some changes in the world. And it's about, as you probably know, that this show has themes of choice and luck and fortune and socioeconomic circumstances. Race plays into it. And a lot of things that people are looking at again today. So we decided that we'd give it another shot.
When was the play written?
2011, I think.
2011? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that about right? Okay, 2011, right. And it takes place in South Boston, is that right?
It does. Well, yes, South Boston and also in a suburb south of Boston. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I take it the playwright is from there? Or
He is.
Okay.
David Lindsay Abair. He is from there. He knows these characters. And we saw an interview as we were doing the dramaturgy with him at some event where he was talking about how all these characters are either based on or conglomerate of people that he actually knew. So there's truth to every character in this piece.
That's great. Before we talk more about the great things going on at the Oceanside Theater Company, Susan, you grew up, 10 miles from there?
I did. I grew up in Dedham, which is just south of Boston. So it's very different. It's a suburb of Boston, but I know a lot of these characters are very familiar to me. The way they communicate, the way humor is used, and the way friendship is viewed. A lot of it it really speaks to me and speaks to people that I knew when I was growing up.
When did you lose your accent?
They beat it out of me in college, although it's falling back into my everyday now because we're using it so much in the play. But when I went off to college, I went to school for theater, and the first thing they did was, okay, we got to get rid of that.
And what school was that?
University of New Hampshire.
Oh, okay. Very good. East Coast. We're chatting with our good friends from the Oceanside Theater Company, the artistic director, Ted Leib. He's also an actor in this play that is coming up. Is it opening today? When's it opening?
We have our first audience tonight. It's our preview audience.
Okay, right.
So officially our final dress rehearsal.
Right.
But, and then our official opening is tomorrow night.
I was on the 13th. Great. It's called Good People, joined by Sandy Campbell, director of Good People, her first foray into directing, and Susan Clausen, who's acting in this play. Can't wait to hear more about this, and I may even shock the heck out of all of them and go in the audience and actually watch this thing. I'm just really just honored always to be able to chat with you folks about it. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community show. We've been doing this thing now for 17 years, Susan, and so we're in this beautiful mission-fed credit union studio. They've been a sponsor for almost a year now of our Spotlight on the Community show. Mission Fed's been doing great things for more than 60 years. Ted, before we turn it over to Sandy, talk a little bit about the theater. How long have you been with the Oceanside Theater Company?
Yeah, Oceanside Theater Company's been around since 2011. So we're in, minus the pandemic, I think we're in our 12th season.
Right.
And I've been with them. I've been the artistic director since March of 2017, so a little over 6 years. And before that, I had directed 2 pieces for them and acted in 2.
Right. Now, have you directed too?
I have.
Have you directed while you've been acting?
Never.
Okay. No. Is that that's not an unusual thing, though, right? We see this in film quite a bit, correct?
It's not unheard of, and you see it occasionally on stage, but there are reasons why I feel like it's probably not the best thing to do.
Right.
You just you need that perspective of somebody out front who can see the whole picture.
Right, exactly. So here we are, Sandy Campbell, doing your first directing on this. Who did you chat with? I mean, you obviously know a lot of directors in this field. Someone give you some advice that was the best advice I ever got.
Several people. My greatest mentor probably right now is my dear friend Kim Strasberger, who's directed a lot around town and directed me in some of my favorite projects. And I directed with her the last thing I did. And it was just from the top to the bottom, from very beginning production meetings all the way through. And I learned so much from that perspective. I also chatted with a friend of mine, Omri Shine, and he told me, don't stress out about the things that you can't control. And
so a good life lesson no matter what.
Yes, exactly. And so I'm trying to do that. That's kind of a hard thing, but it's just been, I'm trying to take things from all of the wonderful directors that I've worked with. It was a really great experience this first time out of the gate.
Right.
Luckily, because I had some friends around me.
Good support system.
Yeah. Right. And so
let me ask you this for our audience that doesn't know a ton about production of a play. Do you choose the actors and actresses in the play, or is that already?
Generally the director does, but these 2 came with it, which is totally great. But we did have auditions for the other 4 parts.
Right.
And that was an eye-opening experience to me too, to be on the other side of the table, because I'm usually the auditioner.
Right.
And you really see how so many good actors come into the room, but it is a puzzle piece to fit everybody in the correct part, And so you can have a great audition, and you just might not be quite right for this production. Right. So that was a good lesson to me too.
Right. Ted was talking a little bit about what the play is about, and so was Susan. What is your perspective on the play? So it sounds like a fun one.
Well, that's the great thing about this play. It is so well written.
Yeah.
There is a lot of humor and a lot of wit, but there are big ideas in this play,
Okay.
as Ted was saying.
Yeah, right.
It talks about race. It talks about
Yeah.
socioeconomic things. It talks about class in America. It talks about if somebody can get out of a situation with just sheer determination and grit, or do they need some luck to get ahead? So really big ideas, but it's not weighed down in that because there's so much humor and camaraderie and friendship and community in the play. So it's a great balance.
Right. So does it take place in 2020? Does it take
Takes place in 2011.
So so it takes place actually when the
Yeah.
playwright wrote it. Okay, right in 2011, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no mention of the pandemic because if there is, that someone got that messed up, right? Exactly.
No mention of the pandemic, and no specific mention
Yeah.
of the economic downturn, but it's a part of
Sure.
the play.
Right.
The 2008 recession.
And absolutely. What would you say is one of the challenges of this play, or is there a challenge of this play? I guess it's a challenge of directing anything for that matter.
I think the challenge might be that Susan's character Margie is a super strong. Sometimes, they all have a little bit of unlikability, I would say, probably. But she does some things, so has some motivations that people might not think of as good. And so the challenge might be to make her, somewhat of a sympathetic character, so we root for her. Now, we have Susan, who is such a wonderful, lovely person herself, so that always comes out in Margie, and that really helps because we see her vulnerability sometimes, and we are rooting for her 100%.
How about, do we root for Ted?
Ted's character. Somebody might root for Ted. Yeah,
Would Ted root for Ted?
I'm sure he would.
Would the real Ted root for the actor Ted?
I don't know. You'd have to ask it.
Well, let's ask Ted. What do you think, Ted?
I think that I'm going to answer this a little more broadly.
Please.
The title of the play, Good People,
Right.
works on several different levels. It's something that they say in Boston when they're just talking about somebody, oh, he's good people, she's good people even, right? But we're also talking about, are these actually good people? Is what they're doing actually a good thing or bad? And that's your own perspective, right?
Yeah.
Everybody who's in this show, what they do, they think they're doing the right thing, at least in their world, in their bubble, how they see things.
Right.
So I think there are people who would look at Mike and say, yeah, I'd probably do that too. I'd behave in the same way. And there's others who would say, that's horrible.
Right.
And I think that's also true of Margie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that I hope people take away from this, that it's what we call the ride home talk after the show, that people go home in their car and say, well, I really understood Margie. I didn't like what she did sometimes, but I really understood what she was doing and why she was doing it. Or I think, Ted's character was doing absolutely the right thing. Everybody's good and everybody's bad. There's good and bad in everybody. Nobody's one way.
Right.
And also, I think the way that you look at someone and determine if it's good or bad, you have to understand that circumstances are different for each person. And I think this is a show that really makes you look at that. Like, does everybody have that same choice? Like, can each person, choose to make the best decision? Not always, if other needs aren't being met, if they don't have enough to eat, if they can't take care of their child, if they can't, well, then can they make all the broader, big decisions if they can't take care of the basic needs for their family? Well, it makes you examine those conversations, which I love about this play.
Yeah, and I think as you folks were talking about also, and we'll talk more about it when we come back from the break, is that, while this might have taken place in 2011, what's going on in 2023, you're going to be able to grasp out of this play, just based on what we're hearing right now as well. When we come back, also, we'll talk a little bit about the humor in the play and so forth, and storytelling, plays, life, is all about storytelling and so forth. And good storytellers will get you doing that ride home. You talked about Sandy and start chatting about that. And we always want to save some time. And what can we do to support, the Oceanside Theater Company? Obviously, go to the play. But there are other ways to support the theater company as well if you can't make it in those. When we return, with our good friends, Ted Leib is the artistic director of Oceanside Theater Company and an actor in OCTs, if I can call it that, Good People, and OTCs, I should say. Thank you very much. And Sandy Campbell, director of Good People, and Susan Clausen, also an actress in Good People from the Oceanside Theater Company. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union in these beautiful studios here in Scripps Ranch. Mission Fed doing great things for San Diegans for more than 60 years. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. The credit union has been doing great things in our community for more than 60 years. We are joined by our friends from the Oceanside Theater Company, Ted Leib, the artistic director, and he's also an actor in one of OTC's upcoming plays, as in right now, and that is Good People, joined by the director of Good People, Sandy Campbell, and then an actress in the play, Susan Clausen. So it kicks off officially Saturday the 13th. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right, exactly. And how do people get tickets?
People can either call the box office at 760-433-8900, or they can go to oceansidetheater.org. Theater is spelled R-E. And just click on the links to the show, and they can purchase their tickets online.
Right. Now, are they running multiple times during the days, or is it one? How does that work?
And for this particular production, for the first weekend, it's going to be tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday afternoon.
Right.
And those show times are 8 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays and 2 p.m. on Sunday.
Right.
Starting next weekend, we will also be doing a Saturday matinee. So we'll have Fridays and Saturdays at 8 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays at 2 p.m.
Right. Everything's on the website, correct?
Correct.
Very good. And I'm assuming that this is going to be such a popular play, the first directing opportunity here for, probably you had many opportunities, but your first directing for Sandy Campbell, that people should get their tickets now, should they not?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. You can get them online and so forth. How many seats is the theater?
We have just under 200, 197.
Right. And where are you guys located? Obviously Oceanside, but what's
Oceanside? Yeah, we are right there on the main street there on North Coast Highway, right at the corner of Coast Highway and Pier View.
Right, exactly. So recommendations, do people grab something to eat before the play? What do you think?
There are some terrific places. Oceanside has changed so much over the last 5 years. If nobody has been down there recently, we've got these beautiful new hotels, resort hotels that are right along the water. And with that has come a lot of new restaurants and bistros and all these incredible opportunities for a night out.
Right. So for our friends in San Diego County, do a staycation, go ahead and get a hotel and some restaurants and all that, right?
Sure.
And the ones that are coming from Orange County or LA, come on, take a weekend over here. It certainly can't hurt to, to focus on our local economy up there. We were talking right before break. And we'll start with you on this, Susan, and pivot over to Sandy and Ted. Obviously, you can jump into storytelling. Isn't that sort of the bread and butter of what's going on with theater in general, and especially actors and actresses?
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite parts of theater is that you get to really be immersed in somebody else's story, which to me is sort of how you understand how other people think. And we're such a divisive society in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And I think when you get to watch a story about someone who has to make decisions differently than you do, that wants to be, everybody wants the same thing, right? Everybody wants to be happy and comfortable and with the people they love and all those basic things. But there's these assumptions that everybody has these same choices to make. And when you sit in and get to really have a front row seat of somebody else's story, I think it makes us examine people in our own society differently as well. So that's why I think storytelling, however you get it, is so important, be it by theater, be it by reading.
Well, listen, and those who could communicate stories are the ones that are sort of revered, not easy to do sometimes and all that. So, Sandy, your job is to make sure the story is being told the right way, so to speak, based on what the playwright wanted. How does that work?
Yeah. I mean, I guess there are some people that might take their own tack on something, but yes, the main point is to get the story from the playwright out to the audience, and so it's a matter of making sure that things are, just as technically as things are heard clearly, and which is a little bit of a challenge in our play because there's a big, thick South Boston accent going on, and people aren't used to hearing that. So for a little while, you have to put your accent ears on, but everybody's doing a great job, and we've really worked a lot on that clarity, and to look at the relationships between the characters and how that imparts in the storytelling. And I think these guys are doing a great, great job.
Well,
I'm really excited for people to see it.
Well, yeah, the pros, there's no question out there. Ted and Susan are top for many different reasons. Ted, because Ted is always good on these shows over here. He's always willing to try something, for God's sake. Can we hear your South Boston accent?
Wow. You can. I will tell you this, though. My character actually has worked very hard to shed his South Boston accent.
Okay, all right.
He's gotten out of Southie and become a doctor.
Okay.
So Susan's actually the one that's got the better South Boston accent. I would love to defer to her on this.
All right, you're on the spot here.
What a pal. All right, would you like to hear a line from the play?
I would love to hear a line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it clean.
What's that? Keep it clean, right?
Yeah, we do have FTC rules here and all that.
All right,
or FCC,
fair.
I should say. Yeah.
Fair. So did she ever tell you the turkey story up at Flanagan's? When I worked up there and she came, she never told you the turkey story? She was pregnant with you. No, Jimmy, actually. She was pregnant with Jimmy because your father was locked up at Walpole again.
Very nice. A little round of applause for that. That is terrific. So, director, how did she do?
Oh, I'm not going to correct her on that. That's her bread and butter. That's where she's from. It's perfect. Perfect.
Absolutely. We are chatting with Sandy Campbell, the director of Oceanside Theater Company's Good People. It is kicking off tomorrow, Saturday, the 13th of October. It'll go through the 28th of October, joined by Ted Leib, is also acting in Good People. Yes?
Not October.
What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you, very May. That's right. I'm already 6 months ahead of myself here. That's right. May.
Maybe we'll extend.
Maybe, yeah.
You know what? Very good.
From your lips.
We just had a 5-month extension on it. Thank you very much. Yeah, May the 13th to May 28th. Ted is also acting in the Good People. He's the artistic director for Oceanside Theater Company. Susan acting in this. Let me ask you this, Ted, you do many of these different types of things. Is it hard to, in this case, you're shedding your South Boston accent for the play. Is it hard to flip-flop and you're doing South Boston in this play? You might do, and we talked before, you had an Italian accent in one of the other plays and so forth. How hard is it to pivot that way?
It's a challenge, no question about it. In fact, on this project, we had one of the best dialect coaches in town, Vanessa Dinning, who works all over town at many theater companies. And she helped us with our dialects, the specifics, very meticulous. And for this play, I mean, more so the Italian accent you're talking about, that was more of a farce.
Right.
So it could be, kind of a stereotypical, what an American might think the accent would be. But this one had to be very real, very genuine. And so Vanessa was a big help, as of course was Susan, and Sandy, of course, is from that part of the world too.
Right, exactly. So, Sandy, you've heard Susan talk about it, Ted talk about it. Talk about how important choice is in this play. Oh,
that is one of the biggest themes in this play, about who gets to make the choices, and and as I said before, if you don't have a choice to get out, how can you? And is there luck involved, or can you just work really hard and to improve your situation? And that's a big theme in this play. It's not answered fully, of course,
right?
But both sides are given their due, and I think that's another thing to talk about on the way home. I think this play has a lot of things to talk about on the way home, and I hope people will do that.
Well, you bring up an interesting point, because I think anybody knows that luck does play a role in life. And sometimes you just happen to be at the right place at the right time, and that's fine. But you also have the chops to take advantage of being at the right place at the right time. And sometimes it just falls in your lap. And I think the key, it's a great takeaway from anybody in that aspect of it, especially in our world that is just so crazy what's going on with, pick a topic on this thing, social media, TikTok, everything in between. And who knows, things are wild and woolly, to say the least, in that aspect of it. But you certainly better be ready to take advantage of some of these things, and so forth. We'll start with you on this, Susan, and we'll wander our way over to Ted. What would you like to tell folks why they should see this performance of good people at the Oceanside Theater Company?
I think they should see it because it's a way to look at somebody else's story with humor, and I think we all have that, where we all have struggles in life. We all have things that are difficult for us, and how we approach it is really as much a part of it as the experience you're having, right? How it's approached. And I think in this story, really difficult things are approached with humor, which is a very Boston way of looking at things. I mean, there's a real dark humor as well, but I think, to me, having grown up there, it's a dark humor that sort of brings people together, right? Like and I think that's fun to watch. I think it's fun to experience. And also there's all of the deeper conversations that we've been talking about. It's important for people to sort of take that away and say, well, how does that apply to me in my everyday life? How does that apply to how I look at somebody else's situation? And, perspective giving and empathy creating, I think, all things that are very important. And also, one other thing I'll say is, you talked about, choice, and a big thing they examine here is choices kids have, and if they have someone helping them out and stepping in, or if they don't have someone helping them out and stepping in. And I think that's an important one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm assuming, Sandy, you agree with everything that Susan said.
I do, and I think that people should come and see this play because it is a very well-written play. This is a Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright. He didn't win the prize for this play,
right,
but it's extremely well-written, and this cast is telling the story just beautifully, and I think people should see that.
No, I think that's fantastic. And Ted, artistic director of Oceanside Theater Company, also an actor in Good People, running May the 13th through May the 28th. How do people get tickets?
They can call the box office at 760-433-8900 or go to oceansidetheater.org, and there'll be a link right there for the show. Just look for Good People, and buy tickets is the link. Click on that, and they're home free.
Right. So for those who cannot make it for whatever reason, how else do they support your theater company?
There are a number of ways. We are a nonprofit, 501c3c nonprofit. We do, in addition to main stage productions, we have a terrific youth program. We have a youth camp during the summer. We have a youth outreach through the Boys and Girls Clubs of Oceanside, most recently, and also the Unified School District. They can go to the website, and there is a link for how to help out, how to support. They can, obviously, it's always welcome for them to donate some money to help fund these projects that we have. And just give us a call sometime. If they want to also help out, volunteer. They can volunteer as ushers. They can volunteer with the youth program. We always need help building sets or costumes, or there's a number of ways that people can help. Please reach out to us.
Right. So make a promise that when we have you back on, and we will, of course, and you certainly can bring our good friend Susan on this, would love to have you and some of the students that have performed and their teachers come on. We love having students on the show here. As a matter of fact, some of them wind up co-hosting with me down the road on some of these shows. We've had the Girl Scouts do that, some folks from AHA Academy. So be thinking about that.
Absolutely.
And if you say, Drew, we got some students that are ready to go, we're available these dates, and consider it a done deal.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll take you up on that.
Yeah, we'll look forward to that. Ted Leib, always good to see you, artistic director for the Oceanside Theater Company and an actor in Good People. Sandy, congratulations on your first foray in directing. I'm sure this is going to be just a whopper of a hit. That's Sandy Campbell and Susan Clausen. Thank you for bringing so many of your talented colleagues to our Spotlight and the Community Show. I know it's certainly great for our audience to hear all the wonderful things that are going on in theater in this region. Wishing you nothing but great success with Good People. Might shock you back being in the audience on this one. Really looking forward to that as well. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing wonderful things in San Diego for more than 60 years. We hope you enjoy the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.